Welcome to the Victorious POD podcast with your hosts, Jack Vickers and Tyler Herman.
Good evening, Pod Squad. We are back again. I bet you thought we forgot, but we are back with another late week edition of the Victorious POD. It's been busy, chaotic October, apparently, with just life events and things. So we're coming at you on a Friday night instead of a Tuesday night for a change, but you're all going to just be listening multiple times anyway, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to be getting into a little bit of Week 7 recap. Some surprising wins. It was the week of upsets for a lot of bad teams and good teams. Some Halloween season movies. We're going to recap last week's draft and get into a spooky, not so spooky draft tonight, and a lot of other stuff. But first, I will bring in my co-host Tyler, who is going to tell us this time one cool thing that happened in his life in the past week.
Ooh,
Since there was nothing you had last week, I'm trying again.
I know. It's I got to sleep all the way through the night for 3 nights in a row.
Oh my! Wow.
Anybody that knows me and understands that knows how huge of an accomplishment that is. Because I think it had been about 4 years since we've got that. I could, between the 2 kids and the dog, I could count on
whenever Easton
one
showed
hand.
Up, just...
Yeah, I could count on one hand legitimately the number of times that Katie and I have gotten to sleep through the night, and we got 3 whole ones.
That's insane.
In a single week, and then we didn't again yesterday, but we took the 3 in a row and we ran with it. So that was 100%. Jack can attest. That sounds wonderful.
Week. Yeah, you woke up and you're like, all right, what are we going to do? I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to do these projects. I'm going to run a mile.
I got to sleep until like 5:45 one day and then like 6:15 or 6:30 the other day. I'm like, this is fabulous.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know if it's happened 3 times. I mean, it's only been 4 months, but I don't know if it's happened 3 times in Jackson's short life. Last night we were excited because he slept from like 10 to 4, and we were like, okay, here we
Killing
go.
it.
Like, I'll do
That's
that 4:30 feeding, and I'm charged. So, anyways, for those non-dad talks out there, but yeah, those of you that know, you get it.
You get it.
Our highlight of the week was we had our 3-year wedding anniversary. That was exciting. Yeah, so we did some stuff. Christine had a surprise like mini spa day thing booked over the weekend, and we did dinner on Tuesday night because what else can you really do on Tuesday? So that was pretty much our week. So yeah, exciting stuff there.
Fabulous.
Yeah, all right. Well, moving on. Quick shout out. Happy belated birthday, Katie. I know I messaged her, but former Key League member. Gotta shout her out as well.
Yeah.
Happy 29th birthday.
29th plus.
29th again is what I said I was going to do. 29th
exactly.
Twice. All right. Well, now the more important question. Every time I put little tiny blurbs in our notes for those of you listening along, and I have to remember what they meant because I don't want Tyler to know ahead of time what these questions are. So truly, these are sprung on him, and he has to come up with it while I've had time to think. So there's that. This one came along in a different show that I listened to that was kind of interesting, though. So it's kind of more of a battle between how badly do you hate traveling versus time saving and whatnot. So essentially, in this universe, anytime you travel, so that's by car, by plane, walking, running, whatever, that happens completely normally. But when you get to wherever you are going, no time has passed. So like you still have to do the 3-hour car drive, but when you leave at noon, you show up at the next place and you're like, oh, it's still noon. Cool, I saved all that time. Or you get to instant transport wherever you go, but once you arrive, twice the time has passed. So if you're doing a 1-hour drive from noon, you get there at 1. Now all of a sudden you show up and you're like, oh, it's 2. So, or an 18-hour flight, it's now 36. Whatever it is, but then you just get to go. Boom, I'm there. I don't have to deal with sitting or waiting or whatever that.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
How badly do you hate commuting or traveling or whatever? And is it worth just going poof?
I don't hate it that much. I like the idea of quasi more time in my life. So I think I'd rather eat the actual travel time because I mean I've never flown overseas and like those type of flights. So pretty much any domestic flight at most you're going to be like 6 hours and you get those 6 hours back. I think I'd take that one, the getting more time once I reach my destination rather than, like I said, I don't need the instantaneous, but then obviously wherever you're going, you have a pre-planned amount of time. So you'd have to leave earlier because then it'd be double. So I think I'd keep the travel time, and once I arrive, no time has passed.
Yeah, that's the nice part is you're basically just, instead of those like, oh, I'm going on vacation for a week, but the first day and the seventh day are both used for travel and that's it. You're like, I actually
exactly.
The other nice part is I can be like, 7:59. Okay, now I'm there. You're never late ever again because you don't have to do the whole like, ooh, I really should start getting ready. You're just like, and done. I'm already at where I'm going. So I like that.
That would be good for me. Katie knows I'm not great at being on time. That'd be very good for me.
I am late to work and I work downstairs, so I also have that problem.
Yeah, I'm not great.
I toyed with making it where it's like maybe the whole no time has passed side, maybe like it feels like double the time to you. So like you still save all the time and 0 passes, but it feels like 6 hours instead of 3 for a drive. Like maybe that would just make it so much worse. But yeah, either way, I think I'm still taking the 0 time, even if it feels miserable to me. I don't hate driving that badly or planes or whatever. And getting there and just being like, I got the whole day ahead of me. That would be nice. So
yeah, agreed.
Right. Glad we got that answered for everybody calling in. You can stop asking now. Thank God.
Yeah.
All right. All the socials and stuff, Discords, YouTubes, Instagram, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I say it every week. Go check us out, especially YouTube. If you can subscribe, that's awesome. Appreciate you. Once we get back on our normal routine, we'll get some more of those shorts out so people can actually engage. Next week, we're going to be doing, I believe, Monday, and then we'll be back on to the regular early in the week stuff. So none of this, no more this Friday after this week. Yeah. Now then, moving into something I didn't think I would be discussing, but NFL news, the Vikings 60-second synopsis. We won. That's, there's that. I didn't see that coming. I don't think anybody did, despite what some people might say. I can't believe we had such bad takes saying the Vikings were going to lose to the 49ers. Wow, what idiots. But take it away.
No, it was very surprising. We played a really good game. I mean, we obviously had a couple lucky breaks with the Addison touchdown right before the half was a huge momentum changer, obviously, for the entire game. So he let one go early, and that came out of Addison's hands for Cousins' interceptions, but then completely redeemed himself. And got that right before the half. So I think that was kind of the huge backbreaker to swap that momentum. But Cousins played great. I mean, 378, 2 and 1. You'll take that all day. Mattinson continued to be horrible. We might have the worst running back room in the NFL, and it's
I think we have the lowest rushing attempts, is what I heard of the fantasy footballers, which I mean makes sense when they're bad every week. But we're like 32 or 31.
It's absolutely horrible. Mattinson 8 for 39, but Addison he stepped up great, obviously, with JJ's injury. 7 for 123. Hawk is an absolute revelation, 11 for 86. So those two can certainly carry it. KJ and Brad Powell are certainly doing theirs. Are doing their things as well. So relatively complete game for us against what was literally the likely NFC championship team, or one that's projected to be there. So you got to be happy about it. I mean, we will certainly take it. 3 and 4 sounds a whole lot better than 2 and 5.
Yeah, agreed. It was one of those where it was like when we had a couple of other games that we blew, it was like, well, this is over because there's no way we're going to steal one from the Chiefs or the 49ers. The fact that we did, obviously, that keeps us in it. The crazy part, and I just read this today, was the Vikings are currently the number 7 seed in the NFC. Yeah, based on everything.
We're in the playoffs.
Yeah, so we have the edge on every other 3 and 4 team. And I don't know if that's just by division because we've beaten the Bears and that's it so far, or how that's working. Obviously, it won't stay that bunched up, but a lot of 3 and 4 teams, so it could really go either way. There's the whole discussion of like, should we tank, should we not? It's irrelevant because they aren't going to. But all I've ever meant is that like it would be nice to be on one extreme or the other. I just don't want to see us end up being barely missing the playoffs and becoming 8 and 9, and we're like, great, we missed and we screwed ourselves out of like an improvement because we're never going to trade up. And I just don't see this team really winning against a top 3 to 4 seed, even if we squeak in as the 6 or 7 wild card. Would it be exciting to make the playoffs anyways? Yes, 100%. If the Lions continue to stumble or we can steal a game against them, would it be great to go for the division? Yes, 100%. But like, Cousins not under contract next year, Danielle Hunter not under contract next year, no real plan on what we're going to do for quarterback, running back looking rough as it is. It makes me concerned long term. So it would be nice to be plus or minus like more than 10 wins, less than 7 wins. So that's all I feel.
Yeah, I definitely get it, and kind of like we talked about, it's one of those things that these are still grown men. They don't want to lose. They're I truly don't know that, and I don't believe honestly that there's ever been an NFL team that has said we are tanking. Like first
Yeah.
off, I'm sure there's whole rules around it or whatever.
Lovey
Um,
Smith. Well,
but
yeah.
just, yeah, just kind of one of those unwritten things. But these guys are all competitors. No group of grown men is going to go out there and say, hey guys, let's go get our ass kicked today, because they're playing for their
Right.
job. So I totally get it, as much as we know and we're okay with it in our fantasy world sometimes with dynasty and tanking and blah blah blah. Um, we're not under contract. These guys are fighting for jobs every single day, so no one's ever really tanking. So
Right.
yeah, and going forward, obviously, it was more so for us, like exactly like you said, being 2-6 feels, or 2-5 feels very different than being 3-4. I don't know why. I mean, it seems so minimal, but obviously it is. So we continue to push. We get JJ back healthy. We still don't know what that's going to look like. It's likely not going to be 4 weeks, potentially more. But if we can continue to protect the ball, that's kind of been our Achilles heel. If we can keep doing that, and the schedule gets softer here going forward, we get a great chance to hang around and keep one of these wild cards.
I was just going to ask to kind of wrap things up. Looking at our schedule for those of you listening, play at Lambeau, unfortunately, which isn't a great environment to play in this week. But then we have, besides the Packers who are struggling, we have Falcons, Saints, Broncos, Bears, and Raiders over the next 6 weeks, which is our easiest part. It kind of gets a little bit tougher towards the end, but of those 6, realistically, and I know we've kind of been back and forth on, okay, we believe we're bad. Okay, now we have hope. I don't want to get into false hope and think the Vikings are back, baby. But in those 6 games, where do you realistically see us record-wise?
I mean, I could see us coming 4-2 out of that stretch, or something very similar to that. If we go 3-3, I mean, I don't think we feel great about that. But if we can kind of catch the Packers right now in their slumping, and with how bad Jordan Love looked last week, I mean, obviously that's gonna be great. Falcons is going to be one of those kind of, I feel like 21-17 type games. I feel like the Falcons just know how to protect the ball. We like to sling it around. So if we give it back to them, they're just going to play keep away. So that's just it's going to be a very high variance game essentially. Saints up in the air, Broncos never really know, playing in the altitude, blah blah blah. So we come out of it 4-2, and that puts us at what, 7-6.
7-7.
Yeah,
7-6. Yeah, 7-6.
Yeah, 7-6. Coming out of that, I mean, you got to feel good. Then going into the back half of the last 4 games, Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions, you're going to get the division potential there. And again, I think that lends us to a 9-8 wild card.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is I think if just staying close, really it means nothing, because nobody's going to be able to win the division yet with us having 2 of our last 3 games against the Lions. So we just need to have a puncher's chance where we can win it by beating them. I'm not saying that I think we necessarily will, because I think they're a better team than they played this past week against the Ravens. But we just, if we can hang in close, like I said, if we can go forward 2 or 5-1, I will believe like all 4. Let's be pushing for making the playoffs. But if we go 3-3, I don't think we'll go below that. But if we go 3-3, that's just going to make me again be like, great. Even if we have a chance, I don't believe in this team having any real threat or chance to win a game. So Packers presents the biggest like landmine to me, even though we're ahead of them in the division right now. They present the biggest one where I just feel like we could slip up in Lambeau, and they always play us well. But if we can get past them, like you said, I think the Falcons are the only other ones that scare me. The Saints we should be able to handle at home, which is key. And then Broncos, Bears, and Raiders don't scare me. The Bears we get at home after beating them in Soldier Field. So could be very interesting. It basically takes it from like we're going to miss and be 500 to like, okay, we got a chance now, but we have to stick this next easy stretch here before we get Bengals and then Lions twice. So
yeah, that's kind of the Vikings MO. We play to our competition level very well. Look at it last year with like the Bills game and things like that. We play up to our competition very well. Play the Chiefs very well. We obviously beat the 49ers, but then we have games against like the Bears, and we do that. We play right to our competition level. Those big games, we tend to step up and make them close games. Hence 11 one-score games. We just tend to play close games. We play to our competition level, it seems like, every single week, which is less fun. A blowout or 2 would be great, Vikings, if you're listening.
The team that barely beats the Bears and Panthers somehow knocks off the 49ers. It makes no sense.
Love the NFL.
All right. Moving into NFL. pick them. Yeah, I know. Yeah, going off the tangent. There's a lot to say about the Vikings. Week, and it just baffles us. So, NFL pick 'em wise, standings through week 7. I will rattle off everybody's places and how they did just this past week, and then Tyler will get into week 8. We're getting I would say a little more separation, but there's a lot of people kind of all over the place at the top, so it's getting very interesting. Nate stays in first place at 12-2. He did slip up once this week. He got the Packers winning incorrectly, which as a lot of people did, but then he got the Browns correct. I am up to 11-3, sole possession of second place with a 2-0 week, getting the Browns win over the Colts and then getting the Giants out of the way, which we both pivoted to. That was a clutch key one to get a huge team gone. Nick slips past me down to third place, tied for third at 10-4 after an 0-2 week, getting the 49ers wrong, which, I mean, not much you can do. That was a solid, safe pick. And then you got the Rams wrong, too, which I also picked incorrectly. But as his pick 'em, that hurts because the Rams aren't a team you feel safe on every week. So tied with him at third is Tyler now with a 1-1 record this week. So he catches up to Nick. Got the Packers wrong, got the Giants correct. Kind of seeing some repeat teams with all of us as we go here. Connor got the Browns correct, and then he got the Bears right. So kudos to him getting that bad team out of the way. He's at 9-5, kind of goes from bottom of the pack up to a chance now. He's a couple games out of second place, not too bad. Mac, rough week, 0-2. We talked about him on Thursday night's game, already having the Saints wrong versus the Jags, but then he also got the Raiders wrong versus the Bears. Foster tied with him at 8-6 after a 1-1 week. He got the Browns right. He got the Bills wrong. So a week where the Bills and the 49ers both lost. Those are tough. And then Joe just hanging on. Last week when he sent me in his picks, he was like, I'm at least 500, right? And I go, you are 500. Not anymore. You're 6-8. You got the Packers wrong and you got the 49ers wrong. So 2 shocking upsets of the week. Not looking good for you, boy. So taking us into week 8.
Yeah, week 8, we got a common theme. Let's see how quickly everybody can use the Texans because we hadn't yet. Great matchup for them. So I'm taking the Texans over the Panthers. This is going to be a really interesting spot with Carolina coming out of the bye. I don't feel great about it, but the rest of Houston's schedule also isn't great. So I'm going to play the 0-6 Panthers and call it good. So I'm going to take Houston over Carolina, and I'm going to take the Jets over the Giants. Fight in New York, but I just trust them a little bit more. Jack also going Houston over Carolina, and then Falcons over Titans. That was actually going to be one of my other ones. Yep. Yeah. Nate, Houston over Carolina, Chargers over the Bears. Connor's going Baltimore over Arizona, Chicago over the Chargers. Actually, okay,
well, that's what he said. As he said in the group message too, so I got proof.
Fair enough. Joe's going to go opposite of me. He's going to go Giants over the Jets, and then he's going to go Chargers over Bears. Foster's going with you. He's going to go Falcons over Titans, Ravens over Cardinals. Nick's going Houston, Carolina with us, Chargers over Bears, and then Mac finally is going to go Minnesota over Green Bay, and then back with me, Jets over Giants.
So the top 4 teams all going Houston over Carolina. So that you won't, even if you're wrong on that one, like you were saying, you're not going to lose a game at least. There's actually 3 different matchups. Well, Joe tried to pick the Packers. He couldn't, but would have been 3 different matchups in our 8 teams picks that are mirror of each other. So we've got somebody's gaining and losing games throughout here because everybody's picking opposite sides, which is usually not the case. Usually it's either just don't pick a matchup or it's all the same side. So it should be a little bit more spread out. We'll see if Nate can freaking lose another game. It took him until week 7 to lose his second one, and I need to catch him. But he's got a lot of the good teams out of the way, so we're down here
using Chargers here too. So I mean, if we kind of look at it, I mean, between me and Jack, I'm like, we still have the Bills, we still have San Francisco, we still have the Ravens. Like
I'm looking at my best team. Like, what's my best team? Cleveland that I've used, Cleveland or Seattle, or the Jaguars maybe. Like none of the clear top threats. Like you've only got, I think I got
the Chargers. I use the Chargers and Detroit, the Lions.
Miami.
But yeah, I mean,
but even then, we got a lot of the teams left that he's already used: Ravens, Bills, Cowboys, Chiefs, Lions. So we're coming for you second half. Just watch out.
Right.
This is the plan.
We're just trying to stay close right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving into the NFL season-long pick'em with Minnesota sports. We don't want to talk about this one too much, but week 7 was rough. We both got 4. I think there were 11 or 12 games total last week, but it was bad. Like it was the week of all the upsets. I won't go through every single one. Somehow somebody got like 8, which is absurd to me. Like 9. If you didn't put that up, 9. should have put that on a parlay because that would have been insane odds. Some of those that he picked, I was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
But I digress. Leaders at 72. He got Thursday nights correctly. Tyler's at 68, and I'm at 66. That separates us between third and eighth, despite 2-point difference. So we're pretty much picking most of the same every week. I need to find a way to differentiate somewhat. But so I'm going to start this week because there's no underdog picks. So I'm just going to rattle off the winners because otherwise, those of you that are listening, it just is a lot of mumbo jumbo and you can't keep track. So my winners this week with no buys are the Bills, Falcons, Texans, Jaguars, Cowboys, Vikings, Dolphins, Colts, Jets, Eagles, Seahawks, Ravens, 49ers, Chiefs, Chargers, Lions. Do you have any differences there?
I don't know that I have any differences. It seemed like last week it was the coin tosses, and like all of them this week are like 75 plus. It
very
seems
clear.
like it's very, very clear. So I might have to jump in here just to differentiate. I think the main ones that I looked at was potentially Pittsburgh over Jacksonville just because they're playing at home.
Yeah, they keep just hanging around. So
they keep hanging around. And I also thought before the Tannehill news, I thought about Tennessee over Atlanta as well. But again, I feel like that's just going to be one of those high variance 17-14 type matchups. Yeah. Defensive turnover is going to do something about it. But I just trust Atlanta a little bit more. So I'm probably going to stick with them, and obviously an Atlanta fan. But they're really, most of them felt pretty straightforward, even though I will say a lot of these ones that we picked are road teams, and a lot of times that doesn't work out. So we'll see. I feel like this is going to be another one of those like 10 or 11 weeks, and they'll get a couple interesting upsets. But
yeah. I did have the Titans in there over the Falcons until the Tannehill news, just for the same reason as you. So I figured it would just be like a running back and forth, but switched it off of that. So side note, speaking of the hanging around.
And obviously I could see, and San Fran slipped in the last 2 weeks. I could see Cincy taking them. It's not like it's a huge spread.
And Purdy's out.
And Purdy's out. So 80% pick over 20%. I mean, that might be one I pick just to flip and differentiate with how good they've looked. So certainly one to look up.
Yep, agreed. All right, general fantasy talk. It is now time for Swimming Upstream.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
We both have really not impressed mostly this year. Like, it's a sad day when I'm pumped with a 16-pointer. I can't remember the last week. I'd have to look back that either of us got 20. I don't know if I have 20 on the season. So, like,
I don't know that I do either.
Yeah, it's maybe somebody said an 18 or a 19, but it's been gross. I'm hanging in at least consistent. I think last week I had a 7 or an 8-pointer, but 2023 totals currently, I am into the hundreds. Finally, Christ. I'm at 110.8, which moves me up 3 spots into QB 11. So I'm in the QB 1 range. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to be flashy and get QB 5 like Tyler last year. There's a few teams bunched up, or a few quarterbacks bunched up. I'm 15 points off of the QB 8. That feels like the next closest realistic one, because beyond that, it jumps up like 20 to 30. So probably not getting there, but that's what I'm shooting for now. Tyler is meanwhile at 94.2, dropped 1 spot. He's down to QB 19, which again, only a 16-point separation. That's 8 quarterback spots. So it'll spread out as buys and injuries happen, but he's only 12 points off of QB 12. So we're right there. So week 7, I pivoted because I had Daniel Jones, and then I announced my backup pick was Baker versus Atlanta, since Daniel Jones didn't play. Tyrod Taylor actually looked good, so I was kind of bummed Daniel didn't play. Baker got me 16, so I had 16.2. I'll take it. And then Tyler finally goes Sam Howell. I
said it.
In the best matchup he'd had against the Giants, and we were like, how is this happening? Because we picked the Giants to win, so we were both happy there, but I'm like, get something in garbage time. So Howell's going to get you 20 or he's going to get you 8. There's no in between.
It's crazy. I literally said it. I said he should have been at my previous 2 consecutive weeks, and he got 25 and 22. And I said it on the pod last week. I said, I'm going to pick Howell this week in his best matchup, and he's going to absolutely. I got the curse this year and gets 9.5. I think he's on pace to be the most sacked quarterback in NFL history in a single season.
Like and I'm like,
dude, you actually have. I know that offensive line is terrible, but guess what? You guys. He has mobility.
Right.
Like, it's crazy. It's kind of the Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins type of, as soon as he sees somebody's coming, he literally just tucks it and falls down. I'm like, dude, use your legs. It's okay. I promise.
Yeah. He's been hit enough times here. He's just like, no, okay.
Literally, it's absolutely crazy.
So week 8, I get the first pick back. There's a lot of guys that normally we've been picking this year that unfortunately all play really good defenses. So I was looking at just the players first, and I usually look through like, okay, give me my 3 to 4 guys I'm looking at, and then I switch to like letting the matchup decide it. I was like, Stafford, he plays the Cowboys. Daniel Jones, he plays the Jets. Sam Howell, he plays the Eagles. Baker plays Buffalo, and then Dobbs plays the Ravens. All gross. So I was just like, no, all of those scare me. They're going to get hurt. So I feel very, very gross about this pick. It's not a great week to have the first one, but I'm going with Derek Carr of the Saints versus the Colts. And the reason for that is just because I'm banking on a safe floor of volume. Nothing feels safe picking Derek Carr, but in the last 2 games, he has a franchise record 102 pass attempts. That is the most the Saints have in a 2-game stretch ever, including Drew Brees and his Mr. Dink and Dunk and yardage totals and all that. So volume heavy. The Colts defense is so-so. It's not great. It's not bad. Derek Carr, the last 2 weeks, has had 300 plus yards, so that's really, really exciting. It's the volume's working, but he's only had 1 touchdown. So I think if they end up getting 2 for him instead, that would end up seeming a lot higher. So I'm going with that.
Yeah, I have no analysis for mine. Fuck it, give me Desmond Ridder. We'll see if we jump in a rushing touchdown. Tennessee's pass defense is absolutely terrible. Maybe they get in close and he runs one in. I have no reasoning. It's just my gut tells me to go with Sam Howell at home against Philly again in a divisional matchup. He put up 22 last time against Philly, which is kind of crazy. I'm not doing it. Just give me Ridder. We're going to see what happens. I want to say I can't do worse, but I can't. I had 6-4 and 8 or 6-4 and 9.5 my last 3 matchups, so I kind of can't do worse unless he gets hurt.
I'm still only 16 points up.
True. And as a Falcons fan, I don't actually wish this, but I kind of hope he gets hurt. Then I can actually see a real quarterback get in there.
Yeah. If I have to watch a full game of Desmond Ridder versus Will Levis and Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Will Levis, Malik Willis. Jesus. If I have to watch a full game of them going back and forth with each other, I'm going to vomit. So
yeah, I can't actually watch the game. It's going to be.
Please just run the ball with Bijan, and then you don't have to have this issue.
Dude, I'm not going to lie though. If it was headaches again,
agreed. Why was this not announced?
Migraines are the worst. I've had them. I had it one time, and I was literally like incapacitated. I was like, if people get these regularly, I feel so bad for them because it was 2 days of absolute maybe horrid. I had it 2 days, and I'm like, this is the worst. I'm like to the point of like trying to move made me throw up. It was absolutely terrible. So if it was that, I get it. But other than that,
I fully agree. But the league going like, yo, why was he not listed anywhere? Why did nobody inform us? That's more of, because then it wouldn't have been an issue if it was like, oh, Bijan is reported with headaches and may not play. Great. Then at least we know. But
was that Mike Williams that had him all the time too? I couldn't remember. I feel like it was somebody on the Chargers because it wasn't Keenan. I think it was Mike Williams. But
was it like Vincent Jackson back in the day or something crazy?
Could have been.
Yeah. It was
somebody got him all the time, and I was like, I get it, dude.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, well, moving on from that, fan interaction. If you want to shoot a comment on our YouTube video, I mean, I get if you watch on or if you listen on Spotify, but if you want to take it 2 seconds once you get where you're going and toss us a comment, we'd appreciate it. If you want to just say what one of our takes was wrong, or if you want to lean one side or the other of our picks, or just ask us something to talk about on the next episode, helps us out. So much appreciated there. We will also go into all of the predictions and questions and debates when we have more of a week to discuss them. But for now, we're going to go into our ship it or skip it segment. So we're going to do our recent Gladiator thumbs up, thumbs down thing. So we got a few in here. Got 3, and then there's one that's basically just an open-ended question, an essay, if you will. So first one, Calvin Ridley will catch Christian Kirk by end of season. Currently, Ridley is wide receiver 35, and Christian Kirk is wide receiver 17. So barring week 1, Kirk's been lighting it up. It's basically just whether you think Ridley will bounce back and kind of be more the number 1 target. So 3, 2, 1, yeah.
He's looked so good, and he has. I mean, the main thing and the main argument that I had after week 1, I was like, he's incredibly talented, but he's not on the field. He wasn't on the field in through wide receiver sets, and now Zay has continued to have his injuries, and now he's going to. They said he's trending toward missing again. Kirk is incredibly talented. That has never been the issue. It's been can he get on the field and stay on the field? And I think now he's shown that, and obviously he has the rapport. So I think the talent shines out. And I mean, I'm not saying Ridley's going to be bad, but Christian Kirk has just continued to look so good. Last two seasons, he has to be locked in. If not, Jacksonville's doing something wrong.
Yeah. We talked about in the offseason. I said Ridley was one of my guys that I was just not taking at ADP, and I looked very wrong week 1. But this is kind of what we were talking about, where I just was like, it's partially a knock on Ridley, but partially a compliment on Kirk, where I just didn't think the gap was that big between the two of them. And while I think Ridley will do better than wide receiver 35, I don't see Kirk falling where they're going to meet in the middle. Like, maybe it ends up as wide receiver 20 and wide receiver 28, but like, I don't see it just being where Kirk's going to all of a sudden stop being used because he's reliable. So that's that. Number 2, Trey McBride, the rookie tight end from last year for the Cardinals, is going to be fantasy relevant with Zach Ertz now on the IR. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
Yeah, I think so. It's obviously going to help getting Kyler back. Just helps anything. It's going to take pressure off of you. I'm curious to see what that kind of distribution looks like. But Dobbs obviously loved throwing to Ertz, so we'll see. I assume Kyler's not going to play this week, so we'll really get to. I think we'll get one great opportunity to see what Dobbs and McBride has. They're one of the highest, I think actually the highest targeted tight end team in the NFL, being the Cardinals. So I think he's got a great chance to do great things. He's incredibly athletic, if you didn't see that last week. So he looks good. Now they get to see what they have in their young gun.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is I think with the Cardinals clearly not going anywhere this year, they're going to want to get Kyler back and see if he's legitimate or if they need to go on with a different quarterback. But also, this is the kind of thing where you just try out the young guys. They have zero incentive to rush Zach Ertz back. So, like, yes, it's IR and people are just assuming it's going to be a 4-week thing, but, like, there's no guarantee they even need him to come back. So they might just make this last longer and then have Trey McBride get more snaps. Whether he proves it or not is different, but, like, I think they will give him the chance, and there's really not a lot of other options beyond Hollywood. So I'm all in on that one. And then third, lastly, Bijan Robinson will end up as a first-round bust / biggest early-round pick bust this season. 1, 2, 3. I don't feel good about it.
Jack wanted to say yes so bad because he
thought
has
about
him.
it, but I'm tilted, so I have to believe. I think it's just the usage. While I think the usage will continue to be frustrating, I do believe that the fact that he's even hanging in here without any rushing touchdowns, it's going to happen eventually. I think it's going to be frustrating where he's not used like an RB1, but I think he's going to get enough other weeks where this blank 0 isn't going to happen. So I'm not straight up calling him a complete bust. I think it's a lot more of a letdown than what we were expecting, because we were kind of doing him like the Saquon rookie season, expecting like a top 5 running back. And I think it's going to be more of like a low RB1, unfortunately, which doesn't feel great, but I don't think he'll be a straight up bust. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally fair.
And then we won't really get into a lot of analysis because we can go down the rabbit hole with these a ton, but I had us both toss out 3 fantasy relevant players for us to be watching at the trade deadline, guys that we think could be moved or have like the biggest chance to be. So it always seems like we build up to the trade deadline and a lot less fireworks happen, and then it's like, oh, a random guard was traded for a 6th round pick, and then that's it. But 3 that I am picking: Jerry Jeudy, Mike Evans, which would be kind of surprising, being the Buccaneer for his entire career, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, just because they're using Jerick McKinnon and they don't really need him anymore. So if they can get anything for him before his rookie deal's out, great.
Yeah, I thought an interesting one. I put Derrick Henry in here, so I thought they're loving what they see with Tajay Spears, and they already got rid of Kevin Byard. So I mean, they're obviously getting ready to do kind of the full on reset, and obviously Tannehill's hurt, but I wouldn't be surprised for them to just be like, we're just going to continue to roll with what we got and see what we've got in Levis and Malik Willis and whatnot. So I could see them getting rid of Henry and or Hop. I think I potentially said it in one of our group meetings. This is not what Hop signed up for. Hop,
no,
in my opinion, did not come somewhere to say, hey, I'm just going to finish out my career. Because on top of it, it's not like he's just getting stats. He's not getting the ball all the time. He's doing okay, but I feel like he wants to go to a contender. So, and there's plenty of individuals and teams that would be okay with Hop. So I could see Henry going somewhere. I could see Hop going somewhere. So we'll double up on that one for the Titans. Hollywood Brown as well. That could be an interesting one. It really just kind of depends. End of his rookie deal at the end of this year, I believe.
Which is crazy. It doesn't feel like it feels like he's been in the league longer, just from getting moved around and stuff. But
Yeah, agreed. So I can see them moving him. It really is just how much are they going to commit to the rebuild. One I don't think as likely, just because they've been so against it. T. Higgins from Baltimore. I think Tyler Boyd's plenty serviceable as a number 2 for them. T could command plenty for them. He's a great receiver. But they've constantly said that they want to hold on to him. So, but he's not getting the targets. He's not getting the target share. I would not be surprised if he's frustrated. And then just kind of a final bonus. It's obviously not working out in Philly for Rashad Penny. I would not be surprised for somebody else to have a late round pick swap and just actually put him on the field and see what they can get for essentially nothing.
Do it. Come on.
Yeah.
Vikings. He's better than what we have.
That's
for
true.
the 2 weeks he plays, and then he's hurt. So the one team, it sounds like there's not a lot of teams they've been talking about for Derrick Henry's fit, but it sounds like the one team that's very interesting is the Ravens, which could be scary because he seems like a very typical Ravens fit type of thing. So yeah,
I keep seeing the Bucks. It could be an interesting one. And then I keep seeing a couple of the Denver receivers. I see Judy or Sutton for that matter.
Please
Panthers.
move Judy.
I don't really get either
Oh,
one.
the Panthers? Yeah.
I don't get that, but I don't know.
Because they were talking about like they want to go reports that they want to go get an alpha or a number 1, and it's like you just spent all your money signing 2 and drafting a 3rd. Like what do you like? If you want an alpha receiver, you should have just kept DJ Moore. But anyway, I hope Jerry Jeudy moves. Would that be? As a dynasty owner of his, I hope he moves because Russ and Sean Payton clearly aren't the answer, which makes me very happy for both situations. But I want Judy out because I think if he actually got targets, I think he is better than Cortland Sutton, but I don't think he's being used that way. I think his route running could make him good, and it's just not happened so far. So I'd love to see him go.
Usually good to bet on Alabama receivers. Just a thought.
Right.
Just a thought.
I'd love to see him go be a 2 somewhere else for like a year or 2, finishing up his rookie deal, and then like get the bag somewhere. So. All right, moving into the Unique League segment. Rattle through some of these. The Bomb Squads and Butt Cheeks. This is a stupid league that I don't ever want to do again. I won it last year, and I don't like being middle of the pack this year. So Tyler's teams, Bills, Chargers, Browns, he is 10-9. My teams, Texans, Raiders, Commanders, 9-11. If you told us before the season started those two trios of teams would be basically the same, that would just blow my mind. So stupid Texans, Commanders, they're just hanging around. Garlick's pretty much, not running away with it, but he's out to a commanding lead of 13-6. He's got a 1-game league, and then Walter's 5-15. Congrats, because I'm the only other one that's going to catch you, and I'm still not even in second place. So that's someone else who tried to do well is doing worse than me. Week 7's results: Tyler went 2-1, respectable with the Bills and Chargers. I might have that backwards, but he went 2-1 on the week. I think I put it in wrong. I went 0-2. The Commanders and Raiders both lost, and the Texans were on bye. So, hey, my first winless week. I couldn't even haven't got it 0-3. But anyways, week 8's previews. I'll let you take them away.
Yeah, Jack, you got Houston, Carolina, so that's a nice W for you. Las Vegas against the Lions, so I would hope, and then Washington and Philly. So it was close. The first one, Washington should have honestly beat the Philly that first go around. Now they're at home, divisional game. You never really know. For me, Buffalo, Tampa Bay. We already got that one out of the way. That's fabulous. Chargers, Chicago should be good there. Cleveland, Seattle. A little more of the toss-up. The whole Deshaun being an absolute, PJ Walker in there. This whole Deshaun Watson thing is really harsh on my mellow. But I have no problem seeing Cleveland lose. It just is what it is. I'm not going to win it, so I'm good with it. So as we got Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Chargers, Chicago, and then Cleveland, Seattle.
Sweet. Guillotine. Most important question. Are we still alive? Yes, because somebody decided that they were like, I'm going to play half the season of Guillotine, and then I just don't care, so I'm going to just not set a lineup.
Do you want to know who it is?
Who was it?
Dave.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's inactive in group me's. He's inactive in league chats. Why wouldn't he be inactive in Guillotine? Makes sense. Justin Fields and then a couple of other Montgomery he started. Someone else as a receiver he started too. So right off the bat, I think I said it to either you or Jordan where I was like, as long as they don't check their lineup, we're fine. And it started off and it hit noon and I was like, yes. And all of a sudden he was projected like 50. So didn't really matter how the rest of us did because nobody had to sweat it out. He had a very good team. I think it was just kind of hit by injuries. But Justin Fields, David Montgomery, Tyreek, Joe Mixon, and Rashad White. all cut. So we're starting to get into like more than 2 good players each week.
Yeah.
I'll let you cover the bigger notable bids because we had some money get spent at least on one guy.
Yeah, we did. Me and Jack were not involved with that. Jack's got he's got his team. I got all my players you guys have seen the last couple of weeks, and now I'm just kind of coasting with what I got. But Tyreek went for $417, which is insanity for reference. You have $1,000 budget for the entire year, and once you have no money, you don't get to pick up players. So literally spent 42% of your budget. Granted, obviously, arguably the best receiver in the NFL, but that is a whole lot of money. Monty for 137, Mixon for 112, Rashad White for 78. Obviously, that was huge after Thursday, so that was a good pickup. 7 catches, we'll do that for you. Jack got Kyren for $14, so he was looking ahead with his team already set. Look for them when he's coming back, and then Fields as well for a backup QB for only $12. So looking good. Yeah. I spent nothing.
Yeah, I basically just tossed out those cheap budget bids on a couple of guys where I'm like, I'll just stash them on my bench. I think I was dropping like Kendra Miller and Gerald Everett, and I'm like, if I can get anybody better, great. Otherwise, I'll just wait. But a lot of the times in Guillotine, people are only looking week to week, which makes sense. But like the way you win is by targeting someone like the injured guys. Or last year, I think week 2, I bid $5 on DeAndre Hopkins because he had his 4-game suspension, and nobody was looking at him. And I'm like, I'll just stash him and wait. So those kinds of things might help a lot. Depending on when those 2 come back. So I'll take it. Surprises or unique thoughts from our team so far. Obviously, my team has been solid. I don't want to jinx it. I am currently averaging the most points for the league in first, which is nice. I survived having Derrick Henry and Nico Collins both on bye. Joshua Palmer, who I picked up last week for like $11. He was my sneaky cheap ad. The last 2 weeks, he's had 18 and 10 since I added him. So very, very nice, like buy or flex guy. And I've still got like $820 left. So I'm feeling solid there.
Yeah, not a whole lot for me. I went and got the receivers that I needed to get to really up that floor that I had, which was about 70 before. And now I've got past buys for all the important people, and I have late buys for the rest of them. So I'm good. I mean, so like Lamar, Saquon, Kamara has been obviously incredible in PPR. Keenan Allen. Now I got Thielen back after bye, so I was like, I'm pretty much just chilling for a good number of weeks now. And I got Hawk as well, so feel pretty good.
I feel good for this week. Josh Allen got me 31, so probably okay. Yep. It's a good start. Moving into best ball, we both won this week, so I'm up to 3-4. You're up to 4-3. I think I'm just on the edge of the playoff teams. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Taylor finally getting some increased workload is a big help. Kelsey carrying my team with 36 points. My entire 13-person bench, so basically in best ball, the guys that just weren't your top lineup scorers, since it sets the bench for you. 13 players, they totaled 5.5 points combined. So between injuries and buys, 5.5 points on my bench. So my lineup was great. Everyone else, it would have done nothing for me. Yikes. Daniel Jones missing time and Geno being abysmal. It makes it clear that I need Kyler back ASAP. So him entering the window and practicing is very, very exciting because he'll be the only quarterback playing for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had the highest score. I was the high scorer again. So, couple weeks now. I think I was the second or third highest last week. But my team's looking solid. Pretty much everybody balled out. I got my big receivers, and I got Lamar again. So Lamar, James Cook, Jacoby, St. Brown, Diggs, JSN got in on the fun. So that was cool to see. So yeah, as long as I keep having those guys, I got high volume guys, and Lamar obviously has a ridiculous floor, and they're starting to figure out that Todd Monken offense. So they're looking awesome, and that defense is incredible in Baltimore. So Ravens are killing it, and I think they're going to keep doing so. Mid the lines look horrendous.
We now have a taste for lion, and it tastes good. That killed me.
That was so good.
The other guys.
I forgot about that.
All right, DFS League. We'll get into the specific picks of the week in a little bit, but shout out to the top people as always. So weekly challenge, we added up for the entire full season. We had a couple people ask this past week. If there's a random one-off and you reach out to me, I will give you your average, but otherwise you just make sure you're not missing your lineups. Top 3 do get paid. First gets most of it, but at least if you get in the top 3, you're getting money back at least, because we've got 20 people, I think, only 14 actually active. So we'll see the final total. I'll get you guys a little bit closer to the end of the season, but top 3 specific scores for this week. Ben with a commanding 178.56. The next closest was Jared down at 131, so almost 50 points below him, just about.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy. Yeah.
and then Jordan 125.88. So shout out to those three getting the crown for the week. Top 5 combined scores thus far that I have to track manually. I finally learned how to do Excel equations to have them add up for me, so I'm
Okay.
learning, which is great.
You could have asked me.
I know. I Googled it like 3 weeks ago and was like, how do I do this? 'Cause after I got to like 3 weeks combined, I go, I don't want to sit here on my calculator. So I learned, and now it's a skill I know. So that's great.
That a boy.
Tyler stays in first at 11:01. Despite a low week, he has a large chunk,
Shush.
which is nice. You finally didn't take first.
It was
fourth week in a row.
horrible. Yeah, I had 3 consecutive weeks, and then I literally took last this last week, which is horrible because I played one other lineup in a different, just kind of random cash, and a random cash lineup, and I put up like 138, and I was like, damn it! I just wanted to differentiate in this league, and it went poorly.
I'm right with you. I'll get into my bombs of the week, but I still stand by it. That was like the best lineup I felt about going in, and it was the guys that underperformed that just broke me. So
it was ugly.
Ben with his dominance jumps into the top 5 all the way up to number 2 after being out of it. So he's at 1037. Ryan stays in third at 1007. Jordan moves up 1 spot into 4th at 1005. And I am down from 2nd into 5th, which is stupid, at 997.9. So hanging on to the top 5.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. Hanging on to the top 5. I used a whopping like 17 points on Tyler, and he still has 100 points on me. So this is the closest I've been to being knocked out of the top 5. I think I was 5th week 1, and then from then on I've been 2 or 3 or 1, and now I'm hanging on, so I need to get back into it. It's been a couple of rough weeks. The top overall fire/value picks of the week that I'm choosing, not necessarily the number 1 scorers, but the best value guys that I'm picking. I didn't have these in my lineup, let's be clear. Gardner Minshew, 34.1 points at 5,200 budget. So if you had the Stones, it wasn't pretty, but it worked because he had those couple rushing touchdowns. Deonta Foreman, helping Ben especially, 33 points at $4,800. That's it. Gus Edwards, 21.4 at $4,800. Josh Downs, 26.5 at 4,500. Joshua Palmer, talked about him. Don't worry, I took him out of my lineup Sunday morning. 21.3 at 4,800. And Dalton Kincaid, the tight end that I dropped 2 weeks ago, 15.5 for 3,100. So top guys there. We will discuss my picks of the week in a little bit in the betting corner. But now, out of the matchup recap.
Kicking it off with the Victoria's Secret League here in week 7. I'll just run through wins again, head-to-heads, and then top half, get the wins and losses for week 7. Tyler, myself over Walters, Ben over Jack, Glick over Foster, Cassie over Josh, Jordan over Jay, and Alex over Ryan. I was in the top half as well, so I got 2-0 for the week. Jack enjoyed his 0-2 week, so that was super fun. So I got sole possession of first. I keep that. So I'm 11-3, so we're killing it thus far. Just got to keep rolling. Jackson's 6th, so he's 7-7 with 2 others, but he's got the tiebreaker, so he's still in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Alex just behind me at 10-4, and then Ben, Glick, and Foster at 9-5 round out the playoffs team. And
I can't figure my team out because I've been like a top 2 scorer 3 times and a bottom 2 scorer like 3 times, so I don't know. I think I might be wrong on 1 week, but I think every one of the 7 weeks I've been 2-0 or 0-2. There's been no like I got lucky with a low score and won, or I got screwed with a top score and lost. It's just been all or nothing. So my team is streaky. Yeah. Anyway, you're gonna have a tough matchup this week. I hear it might hurt the number 1 overall team currently, is from what I've been told.
Yeah, it's it was less fun. So for those that don't know, me and Jack are playing each other this week in our main league. So he's got Godwin, so that was a nice little touchdown. I got
an hour before game time.
Yeah,
he was questionable all week, so that's it.
It was looking super ugly for me. It's still not looking. I mean, the late game touchdown for Mike Evans was helpful, but James Cook, he did all right. Got to like 8, projected like 11. So it's going to come down to the wire for us. It's pretty much going to come down to Mahomes versus Herbert. Is what I feel like it's going to be interesting.
Who do you guys play this? Who's the Chiefs play this week? I
honestly have no idea. Kansas City's Denver.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully they're up early.
Chargers have Chicago.
I know but they both could just be up early and then just run the ball. That's the problem. I don't feel great because I think Tyler's team is still projected like a solid win, but the Godwin versus the other two was helping
I don't think
a lot.
so. I thought we were projected like tied last I saw.
I'm projected 120 every week, and then I put up 80, so I don't believe it anymore. I'm going through it. It's just struggling. My team just flops or does great.
Yeah, I need Zay to figure it out for sure. So we'll see.
I need to change my name. That's why I'm getting bad luck because I dropped Ertz this week to sub in Trey McBride. So once I switch that, guys, we'll be fine. All right.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Going over to Dynasty. DFB, I lost in there. I played the second highest score. I think I have the most points against by a large amount. So that's been fun. So I'm 3-4. I dropped out of the playoffs down to 7th, which is super unfortunate. But a bunch of injuries. What can you do? Taco. I continued to tank. The two tanking teams played each other, and we scored 102.5 and 123 respectively. So that's fun. But I did lose. I got the 102.5 out of the 123, and got ever closer to the 101.
Oh boy!
And then Jack
lost. Who are you taking
DFB.
if you get it?
That's
taking Caleb, or are you taking Marvin Harrison? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't even have a quarterback on my roster, so according to everybody. But I'd probably go Harrison. Anyway, DFB, Jack lost. He's 4-3. I think he's still in 5th. I don't think he dropped anywhere. I think he's still in 5th.
Yeah, I'm 5th.
Yeah, lost by 8. Watson got hurt. Negative 1.8. Not
I didn't have a quarterback. I still only lost by 8. Like,
would have been better with an empty slot.
Yeah, Stafford had 14 on my bench, but it's obviously
makes me angry. Yeah, Taco. It's just Jack just does his thing. High score again, 6-1, still in 2nd. The only person ahead of him, JWoww, happens to be 7-0. Pretty much, it's pretty much a 3-man show up top. It's JWoww, Jack, and Mac, and Jack and Mac play each other this week, so they're having fun so far. And I think Mac's got Josh Allen, so that is always a fun start.
Yeah, we're currently projected 128.3 to 128.6, if you were wondering. So a little preview of a potential playoff matchup down the road. So
yeah,
I do think Glick
I'll be over here waiting for the 2024 draft.
Yeah, I hope we get that far. That's my fear.
That is also true. And if we don't, hey, it is what it is.
I'm in, which is the crazy part, mostly just for me, but I'm in the exact same situation I was in Deflate These Balls, where the first season I didn't win. And the second season, I ended up getting to the championship against the defending champion, where I was like, I need to win or the league disbands. So it's kind of a similar situation. I know we're not guaranteed in the championship, but I'm like, I or somebody needs to beat him so the league doesn't just have the repeat winner. So hopefully season 2 is my charm, but then again, season 3, I missed the playoffs in the other one. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's difficult to win back to back, but your boy's got one under his belt, so it's fun to end a dynasty, literally and figuratively,
yeah, exactly.
Especially when it pays well.
Yeah, there's that too. Ours is a little bit less, since I know we didn't do the quite giant rolling thing like you guys did, but still take it. So I just want that championship belt that I ordered and picked out and had to give away to Mac. So I'm not happy about it. All right, moving into the ad drop. It's like it's hot. It's Friday, so we're not going to talk about our picks for the week because that'd just be redundant. But were there any big dollar ads or any interesting pickups that you saw this past week?
Not really. I went back and looked at it. I think really the main one is just kind of a wait and see. So Walters put out to $20 for Kyler. I think the next closest bid was like 10 or 12 or something like that. So I think it's the right move for sure. I've got my home, so obviously I wasn't looking at him or anything like that. But yeah, really that was the only other one. I mean, a couple others were very speculative, especially with the Rams backfield. Zach Evans went for $10 to Jordan. That obviously didn't work out. Zay Jones for $6 to Glick. I think that's a good stash. Again, it'll be very curious, but he just
a great
came back, got re-injured, is likely going to be out again. So it's just curious to see what that pecking order is. But great receiver, if somebody to stash in, especially our league where we play 2 flexes. And then Jack picked up Trey McBride, which I don't even think I noticed when I initially saw it with Ertz on IR. So if that volume continues to stay there, he's had a nice revolving door at tight end. Maybe we solidify this.
Yeah, that was my hope. I had Ertz recently, and I was like, you know what? If he's out, there's no one else really on the waivers that's any more interesting. So I put in a bid for Kincaid, but I've spent a lot of my money, and I think Kincaid went for 10 or 12, and McBride went for $1. So I was like, on the difference, I'll take it. Kincaid had a great Thursday night, but hoping McBride at least, gets me, I think 9 would be my season high for tight end. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades segment, a blockbuster of a trade we had to talk about. Jordan and Glick did a 2026 mid-round pick swap. I don't know if it was a third or what it was. I don't remember what
I think
round,
it was. I think it was a fourth even.
Or fourth, yeah. Just out of the blue, it just came through, and I was like, "You get the notification of the trade's been completed."
Yeah.
And I instantly, whenever I see that in Taco, I was like, "Those sons of bitches are trading without me." So I go to check, and I'm like, "What? Like, is this just a healthy, fun bet of like, I think I'm going to be better than you?" I guess I don't know if we have an opinion on who's going to be better in 3 years. I think Glick's team is more fragile old men. That is for right now. So I would take a shot in the dark that Jordan got the better end of the deal. But hey, I don't know. That's the thing.
I mean, that has been Jordan's kind of MO here beyond the whole Diggs.
They're both very similar
thing. I was like, they're both very fragile teams. They, especially with even like Nick Chubb and things like that for Jordan, like don't even know if he's going to come back and play. Hopefully he does, obviously, but just from a human standpoint. But
right.
Yeah, they're both very fragile teams, and they could go downhill very quickly. So essentially, they both said, "Hey, I'm gonna be worse than you. I'm gonna be worse than you. I'm gonna be worse than you." And then
here's my thing.
Got it done. So we'll let you guys know in 3 years.
I was gonna say, whoever gets the better end of the deal, Tyler and I make a bet. I think Jordan gets the better end of the deal. He thinks Glick. Loser has to swap the 4th round pick of ours in 2027, and then
Perfect deal. Put it on the board.
All right. Quick notable injuries, those that we somehow still haven't covered. But Daniel Jones, neck injury, he's out. Debo, shoulder, he did not practice. The coach came out and said there's no timetable. So they're not only this week, but they have no idea when he's coming back, which was surprising. Sean Watson, shoulder, he has now been ruled out. Aaron Jones, hamstring, he's still limited at practice, which is crazy. Kyron Williams.
He has no injury designation. He's good.
Oh,
he's good.
Is he good now?
Came out today. I don't know how. I don't believe it one bit, but they just said he somehow has no injury designation, of course, going into the game against the Vikings.
Yeah,
so.
he's a Vikings killer, so.
Yeah.
Tannehill, ankle, he is out. Malik and Zach Will Levis time. They're going to split, apparently, which is bananas. It's rotating quarterback.
They did it in the preseason. Too.
Yeah, they both look bad. You wouldn't have even known which one was in it at half the time. So
accurate.
Tyreek and Mostert both likely going to play, but they were back yesterday, limited. Should be good. Darren Waller, again, questionable with a hamstring. I think that's just been kind of all year, but he's played every time, so I assume he will be fine. Deontay Johnson, hamstring, missed Thursday. I mean, he just came off the IR recently, so it's one to watch. Tyler Lockett,
he's good. He's good now. I saw a practice report today. They said he's good. No injury designation. So a couple of these I put in earlier today, but I got late practice reports since it's Friday night.
You got your scouts calling you. I see.
Yeah, I do.
Tyler Lockett.
Jordan knows I got a plug.
Yeah. Lockett's one sounds a little bit more interesting than it could be.
Yes.
Expected it to be questionable. Now they're actually talking like he might miss. Kenneth Walker, calf, he missed Thursday. That's another interesting one because on the opposite side, Zach Charbonnet is finally fully active in practicing, so he might have his first shot in a bad matchup against the Browns, unfortunately, because I love Zach Charbonnet. But Ertz, we talked about on IR with a strained quad, and then Brock Purdy is officially out now with a concussion. So Sam Darnold season, baby. Here we go. Now that brings us into the betting corner. Tyler, take it away.
Awesome. Week 7, we did what we needed to do. We scraped by. We got just enough. Had some plus money ones that we hit. So we ended up 3-2 on the week for our 5 bets plus 1.4 units. 2 we missed, the Wandell reception and the Goff's touchdowns because Detroit just got absolutely blitzed by the Ravens. So, but we hit our other plus ones. The Higbee under with his receptions was plus money. Puka over was I think pretty much even, and then the Kelsey over reception. So. Got 1.4 units, and any week you're in the green, I will certainly take it. So we're 19-14 on the season, and we're up 6.96 units. So we're doing pretty well. Week 8, it's kind of fun. I've said this before on the pod, but one of the most profitable things you can do is fade tight ends. It just seems to happen that way. They're a lot of inline blocking. If they are running routes, they still typically have a much lower target per route run than wide receivers. So let's have a tight end fade week. I got a couple more that I want to add here. I don't have lines for him just yet. But we'll start with the tight ends, and I'll see if I'll text him out if I got a couple ads. But I'm going with Higbee again. They're still giving me plus money, under 2.5, plus 117. He's running routes, but he's not getting targeted. He's running the third most routes by tight ends, period, at like 83%, and he's getting targeted on 13%. The whole pie with Cooper and Nakua has diminished his greatly. Like, he only got 3 targets last week, period. So if you're going to keep giving me plus money, I'm going to keep taking it until it flounders. No line this one yet with the quarterback situation, but I'm going to take the Chig Okonkwo under his receptions as well. Low possession game, both teams going to try to run the ball, and quarterbacks in, they both know how to run the ball as well, and Malik and Desmond Ridder. So I think it's just going to be a low possession game. They're not going to try to fling it around a whole bunch. But I'm likely going to be on the unders there. Hayden Hurst, I'm going to go under 3.5 receptions. This one, I don't blame you if you don't play, because it's a lot of juice. It's like minus 150, and a lot of people don't like to lay that much juice. But he hasn't eclipsed this since week 1. He had like 5 catches week 1, and he's gotten 1-0, 1-1-0. Like, he's just not getting targeted. It seems like Bryce is just hyper targeting Thielen and the running backs. And he's only running routes on 61% of the routes. So even when he's on the field, he's not running routes. He's inline blocking. Last juicy one, this one you're going to sweat the whole time, but it could be worth it. A plus 155 bet, similar to Higbee last week. Adam Troutman for the Broncos, under 1.5 receptions. 73% route participation. 10% target per route run. Just doesn't seem like Russ is throwing to his tight ends. He had 5 catches week 1. He had 4 catches week 5. But the rest of the games, he had 0 or 1 catch, and he's never had more than 2 targets in any of those other games. So at plus money, I'm going to take the under 1.5 and say, hey, we're going to have some extra help against Chandler Jones and that Kansas City defense. You block a little bit more this game, and I think we're going to catch that one at under 1.5. So those are the 4 I got so far. Other ones I'm just keeping my eye on. I'm looking at Breece Hall's rushing yards over against the Giants. I think that one's going to be one that's going to be interesting. And now that Zay is ruled out, I'm going to look at Christian Kirk's yardage over are kind of the 2 other ones that I might add on here at the end.
I defy you next week just to pick one positive thing about a tight end for a bet.
I can't do it. Hey, I picked Kelsey's receiving.
Yeah, I was like, other than him, just has to be one over 2.5 receptions for a random tight end.
There's a reason it's a near puntable position in fantasy. It's right. It's just so inconsistent, and you're going to give me plus money on pretty much any of these guys not playing well or not being a main focal point of an offense. I'm never playing Hawk unders. I'm never playing Kelsey unders. I'm never playing Andrews unders. Those individuals are essentially the number 2 target. These people like Higbee, 3rd, maybe 4th on the team. Chig, again, run heavy offense, probably at least 2nd or 3rd, especially if Burks comes back. Hayden Hurst, probably 4th option on there, probably closer to 3rd. And Troutman, definitely not in the top 4 of that. You get Judy, Sutton, Javonte out of the backfield. Like, he's at best 4th.
Yeah, agreed. I'm also very sad because of how great your explanation of everything was that I forgot to add in the notes or mention that we were supposed to start the punishment thing this week because I finally won.
Yeah.
So,
darn.
We might have to do a double or nothing. So
I did actually forget though.
I did too. I just put it in now and was like, well, now I'll remember for next week. So for those of you that don't know, Tyler and I decided to start doing in our DFS challenge a head-to-head thing. So whichever one of us scores higher, the other one has to do some kind of a punishment in this segment next week. So we could do like a second one on top of it next week. Like we could do the cinnamon spoon challenge or something for whoever loses. And then if it happens to be you also have to do the meow thing, which was supposed to be this week. So
good deal.
We can toss that in there at least, or otherwise I'll have to do it and you can meow while I'm choking to death. So
that works.
That's the plan.
Good deal.
Perfect. So moving into my DFS targets. So last week, not great. Nothing special. I was a little bit more middle of the pack versus like bottom, but I had wins specifically in my lineup with Pacheco getting 16 and Gibbs getting 27.6. That was my big one that I was pumped about. And then other guys that I shouted out for my bargain picks that weren't necessarily in my lineup, but ones I suggested to start. I had James Cook, who got 16, Rashee Rice, who got 17, and the Browns D that I said was a good value at defense got 17 as well. My big losses in my lineup this past week, Sam Howell with only 10, kind of like Tyler swimming upstream. segment. It just was not great. I saved up on some of these other guys to get Cooper Kupp into my lineup, and he got 6.9, just broke me. And then Hollywood only got 7.92, so that was more of an ice. This week, the under $6,500 / just budget options I like, not necessarily ones that are in my lineup because I'm not picking all cheap guys, but good chance that I probably got a couple of these slotted in here somewhere. So if you're trying to save money in a position while you're spending up big at the other ones, here's kind of where to look for. So quarterbacks, my swim and upstream pick of the week, Derek Carr versus Indianapolis, only 5,900, so not too shabby with that passing volume. If you're feeling really gross and daring, Sam Darnold versus the Bengals, it's more just kind of the Brock Purdy effect if he's got weapons. I think he is definitely a step down from Purdy. I think Purdy has shown he's much better, but Darnold's 4,300, so if you want to just hold your breath and play him, he's not bad. Running back, I've got the either Kareem Hunt or Pierre Strong Cleveland Brown option. So Kareem Hunt 5,200 and Pierre Strong at 4,300. And then Dameon Pierce, I don't love him, but he's against Carolina and he's only $5,300, so not too shabby against that team. Wide receiver, I got 3 for you that are all 53 or below. Terry McLaurin 5,300. I think he's started to come on the last couple of weeks a little bit more, and it's against Philadelphia, so they're going to have to throw. Rashee Rice, again, continued to just kind of be a bargain guy that his price isn't rising. He's 5,000 this week versus Denver. So, and I believe it's in Denver as well. So high altitude probably playing a factor. And then Josh Downs, the fact that he's only 4,800 after last week or the week before is crazy to me. But versus the Saints, 4,300 or 4,800, excuse me, is a very solid buy. Tight ends, a couple guys we've talked about so far, but Taysom Hill at 4,000. It's a little more expensive than I'd like, but I mean, you've got that upside of him basically being a goal line back. And now he's starting to be used at tight end because all the other tight ends are hurt. So, and then Trey McBride, again, if you want to just hold your breath and kind of punt the position, he's 2,800. He is going to start. He is going to get the snaps, whether he gets the looks. I don't know. Lastly, defense, I've got the Browns at 3,000. This week could be pretty interesting. They're playing. Who were they playing? I forget. It's a Sunday.
Browns are playing Seattle.
Thank you. Yeah. So Browns playing Seattle. Not too shabby, especially if Kenneth Walker ends up missing. And then the Falcons versus Tennessee with that debacle at quarterback. They're one that's currently in my lineup, I will tell you right now. Don't love their defense, but I think it's a running game and probably a low scoring total. So we'll see if there's any errors made by the QBs. So that rounds up those. I would say I'm feeling really good about my lineup thus far this week, but I thought so last week. So who knows anymore. So moving into our weekly crazy draft segment. Last episode's results with the best duos draft. We had the 2 group me's, basically each getting commanding 6 votes for myself, and then Facebook. I think it's probably just because we got it out late in the week, but we didn't have nearly as many votes. Usually we average around 20. This time we only had like 5, so definitely could have been a situation where Tyler came back, but this one I held it home with the group me votes. So unfortunately didn't get a lot of interaction with it. We got 20 votes total. But I took the duos home. I think probably just a byproduct of the Scooby and Shaggy, Nash and Pikachu strong finish, and that was about it. So
I was counting on Facebook, and then it was just dead.
Yeah, pretty much. It started out, I got a few notifications, then everyone was like, nope, not on my feed. So season 2 totals, I come back out to the lead at 3-1. So starting out strong, trying to bring the back-to-back championship home. We'll see what happens there. This week, in honor of Halloween being next week, we are doing a best Halloween season movies. And for those of you listening at home, what I mean by that is not necessarily just like the best horror movies, because Tyler's not a big horror guy, so I didn't want to go that route. It's more just you get to October, you get to around Halloween, what are like the typical movies that you have to watch around this time of year? So I'm a huge horror movie guy, but I pretty much didn't put any horror movies on the list because I didn't think that was the direction we were going to go. That being said, I barely have 8, so it turned out there wasn't a lot that I thought there would be. But,
no, I did kind of the same thing. I was like, I'm trying to think. I'm like, neither Katie or I like Halloween at all. So I'm like, there's about 3 movies that are on television that we watch, and that's a maybe. So I will not be surprised if I get absolutely blitzed on this one because I'm like, I don't watch any of these beyond maybe a couple. So we'll see, but I'll preface. It makes me feel better when I lose, and then if I win, I can be like, I had no idea.
Yeah, Jack, what are you doing? You blew it.
Exactly.
If there's any that are question marks, because again, I kind of had to reach to come up with some of these, especially since I was trying to do it on my head on the couch.
It's whatever you want. I mean, it's just Yeah.
If there's any that you're like,
to be a Halloween themed movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Halloween
movie. Yeah. Yeah.
If you watch it around Halloween, it doesn't matter. I was like, I don't care if it's a horror movie
I watch
or
The
if it's
Departed every October 30th. It's a great movie. No, anyway, I'm going with the
Okay,
obvious
cool.
one. I think everybody at home is waiting for this one. I'm taking Hocus Pocus 101. I think that's my easy pick. It's a classic we all grew up on. I could watch it all the time, and it's so great. So not going to put a lot of thought into that.
fabulous. That was.
That's not your 101.
It is not. It is not.
Well,
It
you're
is,
not a
it
Halloween
was,
guy. So what do you know?
I'm really not. But I'm a Halloween Town guy, so I like Halloween Town better than Hocus Pocus. Um, I love them. I love them both. Do not get me wrong. I love Hocus Pocus. It's a great movie, but I love Halloween Town. So that is my one for sure.
That is fair. That was number 2 on my list. I didn't think that would even be one that you knew. So I never know with you in movies because
that is the only Halloween movie that I'd like. I don't even Hocus Pocus is okay. I don't mind it, but I love Halloween Town. I've seen all of them many times.
Oh man,
That's it. I don't mind. I don't mind Hocus Pocus. I like it. It's definitely my second. It would have been my second pick.
I don't mind it. It's okay. Oh, it's so good.
It is very good. I agree. But in my opinion, Halloween Town is better.
We had Halloween Town High upstairs before I came down here. So just for the record,
it's so good. They're all very good. I have not seen Hocus Pocus 2 yet. Have you seen the second one yet?
Yes, it's not as good. I think most diehard Hocus Pocus fans would agree. It's still good, but I just think it's more like quirky funny, whereas the first one was like, as a kid, kind of scary. The whole like, oh, they're gonna come back and like they're chasing down the kids and stuff like that. It was the like nostalgia was good to it, so not as good. Now is where it goes off the rails because I don't really know.
I literally don't. All these other movies on this list, I don't even think I've seen that I'm about to pick. not entirely true. But the only other one on this list that I've seen, simply because I love Eddie Murphy, is Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
that's the only other movie on this list, honestly, that I think I've seen. So I'm going to take Halloween Town and Haunted Mansion.
Same thing. The newest one, not very good. If you haven't
not very good. Yeah,
it made me sad.
It might be it. Apparently, I'm just going to go every Disney movie or whatever. I'm a child. I don't like horror.
That's fair.
But that's what I really want to do. I'm going Halloween Town and Haunted Mansion.
I want to do a horror one at some point, but we might have to bring in a third person just so somebody else actually likes horror. Like for example,
I'll take
Lexi and I talk about horror movies a ton, so that's yeah. All right, the fourth overall pick. Since I got 2 here, I am going to go with a classic as well. I am going to go with Casper. I guess live.
I do have that one
action one. Super good. We just watched it probably like a week ago or whatever with the 3 uncles in the house, and it's a very underrated one. I feel like because everyone thinks of the cartoon, but the movie's very good. So, and then number 2, this one I think is going to be more of like the value pick or the poll winner, but
probably
also a live action. The Scooby-Doo Monster Island one. Always around.
That is a good one. I actually have seen that too.
Yeah,
I'm actually just gonna take everything Scooby Doo because apparently that's what fucking wins.
That's the vote getter. I'm not kidding you when I say the
most a good movie, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Casted movie of all time. Every one of those people in there is famous from other stuff, and they're all perfect for those roles. Like Matthew Lillard as Shaggy is iconic. So that's my 3.
Cool. I guess my other ones that I'm gonna take. Again, it's not necessarily a Halloween movie, but just there's like 4 songs that Easton wants to listen to every time around Halloween. So then he asks about watching the movie, and he's not old enough to watch this one yet. But he likes Halloween Town. He wants to watch Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm like, we'll wait for that because he thinks he's like
it's Tim Burton.
It's Korea. He's like. We watched a little bit. He goes, "This is creepy, Dad." I'm like, "Yep, sure is."
This is how you're gonna feel when you're my age too, son. So.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Nightmare Before Christmas, and then for a last one, I'm just gonna go classic. I'm gonna take Ghostbusters.
I figured, that was the one where I was just like, I don't know that I can't remember the last time I've seen it, but it's the icon one. So, literally 7 for 7 on my list so far. So my 8 are gonna be these 8, which seemed like fair. The only one I have left, which I probably would have gone Nightmare Before Christmas of my remaining 3, but the only one I have left is another one that's just a perfect cast role, and it's probably my favorite thing of this guy who's been in a ton of movies. But I'm not going to say his name 3 times, but Beetlejuice is the final pick.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton. Showtime.
Very good. That was also on my list, so that would have been kind of my next one. After this, the other one, I didn't have a whole lot of other ones on my list, but pretty much I was thinking through and I looked them up and I'm like, okay, hey, a few of these Disney movies that I've seen. With I can't remember the sisters' names, but have you ever seen Twitches?
Yes, yeah, Christine
Twitches.
loves that one.
So I was like, that one's pretty good. I've heard that Paranorman one, a relatively newer
I
one.
haven't seen that one.
I've heard it's very good. I have not seen that one either.
Okay.
Hotel Transylvania.
I thought about that. I thought that's such a good movie.
I thought about that one too. And then an older Disney movie, Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Also pretty entertaining.
Oh my! Yeah,
I had forgot about that one until I saw it on a list. But I'm like, nobody's gonna remember that one. I've seen it probably when it came out, and I was 12. But that was a hot minute ago.
The only other ones I had on my list were these two. I guess are technically kids' movies. They're cartoons, but they were more scary than some real horror movies to me. But Monster House and Coraline, don't have your kids watch those. They're actually kind of creepy. So Coraline's like dolls, and they have their eyes sewn as buttons, and it's like you get made into a doll and you get your eyes sewn, and I'm like, that's not a kid thing. And then Monster House was the house that was alive, and it would like eat people, but it ended up turning out to be something different that I won't spoil if you've seen it. So it wasn't actually just cannibalism going on, but it was weird. And then the only other one I had, I am forgetting, so we'll just not worry. Disney movies. It's come out in the last 15 years, so I'm sure you haven't seen it because you're not always up to date on the Disney ones. But Coco, technically
I've heard it is very good.
Yeah, it's technically the Day of the Dead, so it's
right
the Spanish world, the Mexican version of All Souls Day type of thing, but not really anything to do with Halloween, but it's in that same time frame, and it's amazing. It's probably one of my top 10 favorite Disney movies. So
nice.
That was on the list.
I'm gonna throw books in there. I'm gonna throw the Goosebumps books in there as well. Or some other ones. I haven't seen the movie or anything, but the books I read all the books, which is weird. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that I would read the books. It makes no sense, but I was young and stupid.
The only other one I will challenge, this is my version of the Die Hard as a Christmas movie. It kept coming up on every list, and I was like, I'm not taking this out of principle because it just seems like cheating and like pandering for votes. But everywhere was saying Harry Potter is a Halloween movie, and I'm like, just because it has a witch doesn't mean it's a Halloween movie. Like, it's just magic, but the whole thing has nothing to do with Halloween. So yeah, that's my one complaint. But,
I don't think, hey, Halloween time, I'm gonna watch Harry Potter. But I think Halloween time, I'm going to watch Halloween Town. I'm going to watch Haunted Mansion. I'm going to watch Ghostbusters, Hocus Pocus. That was kind of the point of this. Is when it gets to that time of the season, these are the movies that I turn on, and that's kind of where I came up with what I did.
All right, well, I'll get the poll out, and we'll have a few days to vote on that until Monday. So we might not have a ton of votes, so it might come down to the wire. It really could go either way on that one, but I feel pretty strong with Hocus Pocus. I think my people will agree that's the 101. Unlike Tyler over here, and then Scooby-Doo should be a strong one, but we'll see. I'm going to switch it up as far as new, like next week's teaser ones. I'm just going to start giving you 2 every week, and you can just pick it on the air rather than us trying to figure it out. So I know which way this one's going to go, so this is a bad example, but because it's Halloween next week, I thought, hey, it would be a cool idea to pick best horror movies, or we follow up the best duos of last week with best trios.
No, we can do best horror movies. I won't have seen any of them, so I will do my best to pander to the audience, especially because we're going to do it essentially right before Halloween, because we're going to try to record the episode on Monday before the rest of our week gets pretty crazy, and I got some family and friends coming into town, so we'll do horror movies, and again, I promise you I will have seen none of them. Which is actually not true. I've seen I've seen like the ones that don't really scare me. Like, for whatever reason, like horror movies and gore, I don't really like that. But like ones that are kind of like creepy and nothing actually jumps out and pops out at you, I don't like jump scare. I really, really don't. But like the ones that I've seen and actually enjoyed, and I was terrified the entire time watching them. But I was like, I really enjoyed the Paranormal Activity movies. Those were very good, especially the first one was very good. But yeah, like the whole gore and things like that is not for me.
Yeah, it's fair. For me, it's always been, because there's a lot more of those nowadays where it's just tons of gore, and I'm like, that doesn't make it scary. If you're scary even beyond that, cool. But if you're just like, watch me make you watch how gross it is to kill this person, I'm like, that's not horror. That's just like, I'm gonna go throw up my lunch now. Cool, thanks. So I like where it's building. Sometimes like Supernatural's cool, but I really like where it's like realistic ones that can happen. So recap from like our last
I don't like
one,
that.
but I finally
I don't want this to be
all
possible.
I finally finished all of the Scream movies that are currently out, all 6 of them now, and like those are every single one could happen. It's just somebody planning out being like a psychological killer. So that kind of stuff.
I've seen the first one. That is it.
The 5 and 6 are so good. But anyway, I digress. Does Katie watch horror movies at all?
Hell no. Less than me.
I was trying to think you could, like, you could bring in like a celeb judge or an assistant, but this might be one I have to toss out and see if, because there's so many horror movies, maybe we can get like a third one in here and at least have some disparity. Because otherwise, I love horror movies. So
yeah,
if anybody wants to join,
somebody can tag in for me if somebody else somebody else wants to tag in for me next week. Send a video of your top ones, and you can have all 4, and then Jack gets to pick from the rest.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fine. I still feel confident, so that's all right.
I have zero insight. I will have nothing to add to the conversation.
Perfect.
I don't know. Yeah,
all right. Well,
plus you get the 101.
No, you do now. I got Hocus Pocus. So
that's what I mean. Yeah, whoever
the guest,
whoever wants to tag in for me, you can have any horror movie you want. Go.
Pass that up. What a deal. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up since we're the hour and 15 mark, pretty much like always. So I'll let Tyler send us off for the week.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everybody who continues to listen. Again, I say it every week. I don't know why you do, but I do appreciate it. The sport has been great. We've grown exponentially since the start of this season, and we started with like 70 subscribers to start the season, 80 maybe. Actually, we were probably just over the 100 mark, 123. We keep climbing up. We usually get one, lose one, get one, lose one. But we appreciate the interaction. We know we've been behind on the number of stuff that we usually put out on the YouTube channel and whatnot, but as things slow down in life, we will get better at that, I promise. Shout out some of the individuals who support our show. Shout us out on their shows, the Minnesota Sports. Really enjoying their pick'em. Someday we'll get on there. Didn't get a chance to play them last year, so really enjoying their pick'em. They run a great thing. They're live on Wednesdays, I believe it is, on Facebook. ADH Dads, they're a great podcast. I've listened to it a couple times. It's really enjoyable. The Game Boys, if you're a gamer, super love that. They do game reviews and whatnot. You can find us at always Discord, YouTube, Twitter, at the Victorious POD. Best place you're going to find all our stuff is YouTube at the Victorious POD. But that's what I got, Jackaroo. I'll let you get us out of here.
I will close with can't wait for Tyler to lose in his matchup this week. Yay!
Lose to Jack? That sounds absolutely horrible.
Just give me at least Jack, 1-1 so I can stay 500.
No,
okay.
Absolutely not, Jack.
Right.
You're going to go 0-2 again.
Good luck,
Bye.
Vikings, whatever we're going to do. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yay.
Thank you for listening to the Victorious POD podcast. Follow us on YouTube at the Victorious POD.